The topic for today is money multiplier. We already talked about money, and now we are talking about money multiplying. Well, doesn't that sound great? What if you could multiply money? Okay, you can't, but we'll see who can. So before we come to the concept of money multiplier, we first need to know who supplies money, who creates money and gives it to us so that somebody else can multiply it. So we have three players who have the ability in our economy to create money. That is, the first is the RBI, which is a central bank, and the central bank prints currencies. So all that 100 rupee note, 200 rupee note, 500 rupee note are all printed by the RBI, and as we mentioned, are guaranteed by the RBI. And just note that the lowest denomination that the RBI can print is rupee 2. Now, if any of you remember, back in the days, we had a rupee 1 note. Now, if RBI prints from rupee 2, then who used to print rupee 1 note was the government of India. And not just rupee 1 note, the government also mints coins. So now we have two sources of money supply. One is the RBI with the currencies, and the government with the minting of coins basically, and rupee 1, but we don't use it now, so minting coins. Now there's one more player called the banks. Now the banks does not print currency, neither does it mint coin. Then how do banks create money? Now banks do something that is extremely smart. They take this money that is created by the RBI and Government of India, and they simply multiply that money. Okay, they multiply. And now let's see how. Okay, how the bank multiplies money. And for this we need a hypothetical situation of, let's say, a city. And in this city we only have one bank. And we have 4 people. Okay? And the government and RBI together, they issue money and they inject 100 rupees into this economy, and A is the one who gets the 100 rupees. That means the other three don't have money. Okay, they don't have any money. Only A has money, and 100 rupees is the only money that is there in this particular city. And there's bank, and we're assuming everybody goes to the bank, everybody has a banking habit. So now what happens is A gets 100 rupees. So A goes to the bank and he deposits the 100 rupees in the bank. Now, if you know how banks work, what banks do is they take deposits from people who have money and they give it to people as loans to people who don't have money. And the bank gets some interest, extra interest by doing this, and that's how they get the profit. So now the bank has deposits. The bank has to give loans. So what does the bank do? The bank gives loans. Now here a slightly tricky part comes, that the bank cannot give 100 rupees as loan, because then all the money from the bank goes away. But that is quite risky, okay, because the money that the bank is getting, all the money is going away, and that should not happen. The bank should have some money, because what if A comes back and asks for the money? So in order to make it easier for the bank to lend out, and also to make sure A will get his money when he comes back, there is something called the reserve ratio. Okay, there's a particular reserve the bank has to keep before it gives a loan. And this reserve, in this example, let's say, is 20%. That means 20 rupees of 100. Now, A has deposited 100 rupees. The reserve, or the safe, more like a buffer money, okay? That reserve is 20, and the loan that the bank can now give is 80. And this loan goes to who? It goes to B. Now, B is happy. B has money. Now, we are assuming, this is hypothetical, that B comes back and puts money. So now the bank has 100 rupees plus 80 rupees, right? Because B is also putting his money. That is 180 rupees. Now the bank is again happy, because what? They have deposits, they can give loans and get some profit, because that's how banks work, okay? And now they have 180 rupees, and how much should the reserve be? Reserve is 20%. So now the reserve will be 20% of 180, that is 36 rupees. Now the bank can give a loan of 64, because they got 80 as new, from that 36 is reserve, and then they can give 64. Now the 64 comes back to the same bank, okay, and 20% of that is kept as reserves, so on and so forth, and this keeps going till the last person, okay, and let's say there are a couple more people, and when the last person comes, okay, from this 100 we're generating all this money, the last person, it'll be 500 on this side. The total deposits in the bank will become 500. The reserve will be 100, and the loans will be 400. So what happened here is we started off with 100 rupees. But because this money, the extra money, kept coming back, the deposits of the bank increased and the loans of the bank also increased. So in reality, we started with rupees 100, but now the bank has rupees 500. That means the bank just created money, didn't it? And as I said, the safeguard that we're talking about. Now, what if B comes back today? Okay, B needs money. B comes back and B says, see, I gave you 80 rupees, I need 80 rupees. Now, the bank can pay back 80 rupees easily because it has a reserve of 100 rupees. And that is the concept of reserve, so that, if you put money in a bank and you go back and ask them for the money, they need to have enough money to pay you back. That is why they keep reserves. And the reserves also, in a way, restrict the bank, restrict the amount of money that the bank can lend. For example, if the reserve here was 50, then the bank would only give loans of 50 and then 50% of the next. And hence the bank can't give so much of loan and hence not make so much of profit. So this is basically the concept of money multiplier, where 100 rupees that was printed or minted by the supplier, that is the RBI or the government of India, became 500 rupees just because of banks. Think about it. Isn't that great? Okay, so now we are talking about what are the things that affect money multiplier. Now there are two major things that affect money multiplier. One, as I said, is the reserve. Now if the reserve is too high, the banks cannot give enough loans. So money multiplier is calculated by 1 by R. For example, in this scenario, the money multiplied by into 5, right? So 1 by 20 by 100, that is 1 by 20%, will be 1 by 0.2, that gives you 5. So this is the money multiplier. So when the reserve ratio is 20, the money multiplier is 5. For example, take the reserve ratio as 25%. Then the money multiplier would be 4. That means 100 rupees will become into 400 rupees at the end. So the bank has created 300 more rupees. Okay, and that's how money multipliers work. It depends on the reserve. So for example, if the government or somebody who is regulating money supply in our economy does not want so much money to be created by the banks, they can just simply increase the reserve ratio. And when the reserve ratio increases, like 20 to 25, the money cannot be multiplied as many times as before when the reserve ratio was low. So here when the reserve ratio increases, the multiplication of money decreases, and when the reserve ratio decreases, the multiplication of money increases. Now the reserve is the first thing that affects money multiplier. Now second thing is, here we assumed something very, very important that does not really happen in our economy, is that all these people had the habit of banking. Only then this money will come back. What if it went to C and C does not bank? C keeps the money in his cupboard. Then we cannot have this chain of things going down, And if people don't have the banking habit, then money multipliers won't work, as in the hypothetical situation. So when the banking habit of people increases, when the banking habit of the population increases, what happens is we have more people depositing money, and more deposits for the bank means more loans can be given by the bank, and hence more chances of money multiplying in our economy. So today we talked about money multiplying, who all creates money, what are the sources of money, how does money get multiplied in this complex story, which I hope you understood. And we have two things that affects the money multiplier, that is a reserve ratio and the banking habit of the population. Thank you.